Hello, good football doll. I'm Ryan. With me are AJ, stats guy, Colt, fantasy guy, special guest Jeff, Raiders fan. Big win this week. We're going into week 6 on this one. We have no title for this episode because we are rolling in hot. Gentlemen, shall we football? All right, let's take a look back at week 5 first. Let's go around the room and discuss our most surprising developments in week 5. We'll start.
Biggest surprise?
Yes.
I think I've got to go with the Raiders upset in Arrowhead.
Immediately took Jeff's thunder.
I don't want to take the thunder. That is not my final answer. I just felt like I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that.
Fair.
I will say second to that, I was kind of surprised the Chargers did not pull the win out against my Saints last night. Herbert is playing lights out. That first touchdown to Keenan Allen, eluding 2 free rushers and just chucking it on the run. I mean, the Chargers they look pretty good to be 1-4. So I really thought they could bring that win home last night. That surprised me.
That's a pretty good surprise. I'm going to go next. I'm going to go Seahawks. Not that obviously we all expected them to win this week. I believe we all picked them over the Vikings. But how they had to win in the last second, and Russell Wilson looking almost human against a Vikings defense that hasn't been overly impressive throughout the season. The Colts offense, when the Vikings played them, obviously isn't very good. But that Vikings team gave the Seahawks a run for their money in Minneapolis, and Seattle escaped with a win. Russell Wilson throwing his first interception. Aaron Rodgers didn't have to play to close the gap a little bit on the MVP race. AJ, you're most surprising.
Boys, I'm surprised we didn't go here. How about the Dolphins kicking the crap out of the 49ers?
The Dolphins.
That is an astute one there.
Yes.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
That's mind-blowing.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, 22 of 28, 350 through the air, and 3 touchdowns. Fitzmagic, alive and well.
You know he went to Harvard?
Did he go to Harvard, buddy?
Catching magic in a bottle, those Dolphins tend to do that every now and then throughout the course of the season when Ryan Fitzpatrick is under center. And now we get to the main event. Jeffrey, what was your biggest surprise of the week?
The one that made me almost crap myself, my Raiders beating the Chiefs. I literally, look, we were going against the best team in the NFL, and I expected a blowout as always. We go to Arrowhead. In the last 7 years, we've lost to the Chiefs at Arrowhead, and to come into Arrowhead and come out with a win was phenomenal at one. And then we also got to see what Henry Ruggs could really be about if he keeps going in the path that he did on that game on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That dude was creating separation.
Yeah, he was.
Can I make an addendum to mine as well and come to the Tuesday night game, just how handily the Titans took care of business against the Buffalo Bills, coming off 2 weeks and 2 days of off time thanks to the COVIDs?
Ryan, I want to take a look at the defensive stats for – we've got 1 sack and 4 tackles for loss for the Titans, 7 passes defended, 3 quarterback hits. That's not a ton of overly disruptive plays. How does that get done without that?
You had 2 interceptions by Malcolm Butler in that game on Josh Allen, his first 2 interceptions of the season, and 1 on the opening drive, which I feel like – I listened to it on the radio. I feel like it really took a lot of the air out of the Bills' sails, and kind of the Titans punched them in the mouth early in that one when a lot of people, myself included, expected them to come out a little flat and a little slow after a couple of weeks off.
Well, how about the Titans' offensive line? 2 quarterback hits, no sacks, 2 tackles for loss. That's pretty strong play up front. The other thing is Malcolm Butler not only contributing 2 interceptions, also a tackle for loss himself, plus 2 more passes defended. If we gave out Defensive Player of the Week, and if it mattered, it might go to Malcolm Butler.
It might have to after his performance this week. Taylor Lewan and his pet pig from Michigan doing work on that offensive line.
Honestly, I'm literally going to say Seahawks Vikings. I thought it'd be a good game, and it actually turned out to be the least surprising to me.
All right. That's actually very fair. Russell Wilson, though, throwing that interception.
It's Russell Wilson, but at the same time, I expected Dalvin Cook to come in there and just go ham on a defense that is ranked last in the NFL.
Yeah, very, very good point. Dalvin Cook is an absolute monster.
Yeah, that
The
defense
chef.
that defense is battered.
Yeah, it is. It very much is. Colt, your least surprising of the week.
It's surprising. I'm gonna have to go Ravens 27 to the Bengals 3. Not surprised.
That's low hanging fruit, pal. That is very low hanging fruit.
Very much.
Hey, sorry, I had to go there because I also wanted to expound on the fact that Ravens offense didn't look incredibly jazzed up here. I mean, Lamar ran for 3 yards. He had a very subpar passing day. You know, Harbaugh's mixing in each and every running back. Dobbins had a really nice long run. I don't think they
He also threw an interception.
He did, yeah, but I don't think the Ravens were really asked to do much offensively in this game based on the defensive dominance, and Burrow just held the ball way too long. It didn't surprise me, though.
Colt, to your point, 4.9 average for Lamar Jackson through the air. Dinkin and Duncan, what do you think all the conservative play is, or do you think he's just – I didn't watch that game beginning to end. I don't know if anyone did. Why such a low number through the air on average? Is it conservatism, or is it a lack of effective quarterback play?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Harbaugh is calling, games based on his strengths in defense and running. Now, Lamar is obviously a strength too, but he was on the injury report all week with a knee issue. I don't think it was anything that hampered him a lot, but maybe they were just trying to, kind of corral him a little bit for this week. Like, hey, buddy, we don't need you to do much.
He had a tummy ache this week too. He had a stomach issue.
I did not know that.
So here's another point about the Ravens rushing attack. So 6.7 yards per carry, 161 yards. Good number.
Mm-hmm.
42 of those yards came on one run from Devin Duvernay, and J.K. Dobbins hit one for 34 yards. So that's 76 yards on 2 plays. The rest of the way, not great. Mark Ingram averaged 5.2 on 11 carries for them, but Gus Edwards, not much. Lamar Edwards, almost nothing, and they had a couple single runs from Marquise Brown and RG3. But outside those 2 big plays, why is this offense so different?
I do believe it's game tape available on Lamar Jackson. His style of play is beatable if you have enough tape on him. He is not Patrick Mahomes. He is not as multifaceted as Mahomes can be at times. He's not quite as multifaceted as Deshaun Watson can be at times. You can game plan around Lamar Jackson and keep him contained, and really have to rely on other guys in that offense to make it click. And I think a lot of defensive coordinators have figured out Lamar Jackson just a little bit. I'm not going to say he's not amazing, but enough to keep his numbers under wraps.
Well, one of them – I'm sorry, I'm going to take up even more time. I'm selfish. The Falcons losing by a touchdown. I don't want to say heartbreaking fashion necessarily, a little bit, but losing within striking range. And then the Jets doing what the Jets do.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm only going to count your Falcons take because my least surprising was Cardinals over Jets, and Kyler Murray going for 380 on that defense. That's putting up
We'll
numbers.
get to it later, but my fantasy team would like to formally thank Kyler Murray.
Speaking of that Falcons-Panthers game, AJ, are we ready at this point in the season to talk about the Panthers as a football team yet?
Ryan, you and I talked about it in our unofficial podcast last week. I think we're getting there, and this week I think puts us over the hump with Teddy Bridgewater's showing they're efficient. I don't want to limit his effectiveness to calling it only efficiency. He's averaging 8.5 through the air. He had 2 touchdowns, no sacks. I think this guy just might know the game of football. I considered him, you and I talked about it, with the Vikings, I thought he was pedestrian. With the Saints, I thought he was buoyed by the rest of the team. He might just be a good quarterback.
I think he actually is a good quarterback. He was overlooked a little bit in Minnesota because Jeff's Minnesota Vikings, his second team out there, they often get overlooked in the cold and the snow up in Minneapolis, and he just didn't get the respect he deserved. He was great at Louisville in college. Old Teddy Two Gloves out there chucking it around. But Jeff and I were talking a little bit earlier today. That Panthers team, they don't have anybody on any side of the ball that stands out. Just think about it. Without Christian McCaffrey out there, who do you have on offense that's really going to wow you? No one. Who do you have on defense that's going to wow you? No one. They all just go out there and they do their job, and they do it well enough to win.
Well, you got to think that defense was so decimated by defections, and the offensive line has always been suspect. I think Cam Newton and all of his injuries can attest to that. But they made a trade, Russell Okung for Trey Turner with the Chargers, which bringing in an older left tackle, trading away a younger guard, although Trey Turner was due for a pay raise. I believe that might be wrong. I think the Panthers, Matt Rule knew something about the players he had that the rest of us couldn't see or didn't see, especially on defense, filling in the holes, and on the offensive line, the skill positions too.
I think their biggest acquisition in the offseason doesn't ever step foot on the field between the numbers. I think it's Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator. Pulled him from LSU after he guided Joe Burrow and company to the most prolific offense in the history of the SEC. And he just knows how to dial up plays that work.
Okay, listen here, boys. Real quick.
Do we have an MVP of the week? I think I know who AJ's going to pick.
Oh, I know AJ's pick. Oh, yeah.
Gentlemen, Jeffrey,
Chase
do you have
Claypool,
an MVP
Chase
of the
Claypool,
week?
Chase Claypool. I don't know how many times I can say it. Doing South Bend, Indiana proud. That is a superstar. You just watched a superstar born this past week.
He's been making highlight catches all year. He put it all together on 23 routes run. 23 total routes run. He had 4 touchdowns.
2 that were called back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
Have yourself a day.
They were manufacturing touches for him. That red zone touchdown on the screen.
Yeah, have yourself a day, Chase Claypool, whatever his name is.
Canada's finest.
The Canadian killer, Chase Claypool. Jeff, your player of the week.
I know it's biased because I'm a Raiders fan, but I'm going to say Derek Carr. He led the Raiders to a win over the Kansas City Chiefs.
Hot take.
After throwing an interception, he came back on the field and he dominated.
I love the pick. I really do. And I told Jeff early in the season it's going to take a win against Kansas City in Arrowhead to make me believe in that team, and I am now a believer. Colt, do you have an MVP of the week?
Name names.
Justin Herbert.
Good pick.
Without winning.
Kid is balling. Yeah, I mean, he deserves a couple of wins here. I feel like traditionally the Chargers are the kings of losing close games. I think the Falcons have really taken that mantle this year. But I got to say, I'm so impressed with Herbert. I mean, he is hands down the best rookie QB right now. I mean, there's only a couple, but, for all the praises of Burrow and everything, I mean, Herbert Because even that first touchdown throw to Keenan Allen last night, that was such a veteran play. In only, he started 3 games now?
Started, I believe 3 games.
Yeah.
After Tyrod Taylor got his lung punctured by a doctor.
Yeah. It's just exciting to watch him. It's reminiscent of watching Mahomes just explode.
Are you sure they didn't take him to the vet on accident?
It was the only doctor available in that particular area of Los Angeles. Poor
He
guy.
specialized in aquatic mammals, and they figured it would be, close enough.
I think I'm going to go with our Harvard guy Ryan Fitzpatrick for myself as my MVP of the week. And with that, we move on to the coming week. Who knows what COVID has to offer and to bring us and to cancel for us?
Ooh.
Yes. Oh yeah, get excited about next week.
Gonna get shaky.
It could get shaky. We already have a doubleheader on Monday night on Fox and ESPN. But let's just run through the lineup here, and I'm not going in any particular order. Not gonna single out certain games or matchups. Texans, Titans. Let's go around the room. Jeffrey.
Titans.
Why?
Why?
Yes. Yeah.
Texans are garbage.
Yep. That's about all you really need for that one. I should have saved the why for a better game on that one. Colt.
Titans.
AJ.
Yeah, Titans.
Yep. Barring any positive tests, that's a clean sweep on that one. The Titans have a history now of positive COVID tests. Bengals, Colts.
I think the Colts get back on track here. I want to say I'm a believer in the Colts. I like the Bengals. I think, first of all, I think the only way to go is up for them. And Joe Burrow is made of 100% magic. But I think that the offensive line, I think that the Colts have to regress back to the mean, in which they will play games where they 100% control the line of scrimmage, possibly on both sides. So I'm going to go Colts.
Yeah, I think that's probably a safe bet in this game. If they're going to regress to the mean in the trenches, this is the game to do so. They had the personnel on both the offensive and defensive line. That Colts defense is absolutely just mean and nasty, and they make up for the deficiencies that offense has shown so far. So I'm also going to pick the Colts. Jeffrey.
I'm not a fan of Phillip Rivers, but I'm going to go Colts. That defense is nasty.
Yep, Colt.
I'm going Colts too, man. I think the Bengals may give them a little more run for their money than most would project, but yeah, defenseman on the Colts is just, it's gnarly. They should have Darius Leonard back. Controlling the line of scrimmage, Jonathan Taylor, heavy doses. I think Colts.
Colt picks the Bengals to cover, the Colts to win.
Yeah.
Ryan, get selfish. Who you got?
I'm going to go Colts.
Wow, keep it interesting. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. Falcons, Vikings in this one. I think, didn't Dan Quinn finally get fired somehow?
He did.
So I've heard, yeah.
And the GM got fired as well.
Yeah, rumor on the street. Falcons cleaning house just like the Texans did. Texans got themselves a win in their first game after firing their head coach and GM, who happened to be the same individual. Hard to fire yourself and then keep one job and not the other one. But I do think the Vikings come out on top in this one. Falcons defense is just too bad. Colt.
Vikings. Oh, yeah, Vikings. Even if Dalvin Cook doesn't play, defense looked good last week. Really keeping Russ in check the first quarter. I'd say for most of the game. Alexander Madison is like a Dalvin Cook light. So insert next running back.
There you go, Jeff.
I'm going to go Vikings because, like Colt was saying, even if Dalvin Cook doesn't play, you got Madison on that side of the field for running back. And he was, against Seattle, he was doing phenomenal numbers.
All right, Vikings. AJ, are you going to get selfish?
I want to so badly. I really do. I want to get selfish. I can't, though. I just can't. So, yeah. All right, 3 clean sweeps in a row.
How many Patriots are going to play against the Broncos this upcoming Sunday at 1 o'clock on CBS? 1-3 Broncos, 2-2 Patriots, Colts.
That's a great question, Ryan. I'm going to go ahead and say they will complete the 53-man roster with some practice squad help and handily take care of the Broncos if possible.
Jeff?
Patriots. I don't like them, but I'm definitely not a Broncos fan at all.
AJ?
Cam Newton. So surprisingly, both of these teams playing really good defense. Patriots sitting at 2-2. The Broncos sitting at 1-3. Patriots have given up 92 points total so far. Again, it's only in 4 games. And the Broncos at 98. So I'm going to go Patriots, again, playing it safe and selfish. Ryan?
I also think the Patriots are going to win, especially if Cam Newton ends up playing. He is going to make the difference in that football game. Boys, we got a bunch of trash on this slate this week. Might as well not even watch the games.
That's not going to happen, but go on.
The next up on the ticket here is the football team against the G-Men of New York.
Oh, God.
I told you. 1-4 against 0-5. Battle for NFC East supremacy.
Let me go last on this one.
Got it. Cool.
I got to go Giants here, man. Their defense looked really good last week. Even competitive, not to mention fracturing Dak's ankle and ending his season. And, it's funny to me that they put up the points they did, and Daniel Jones did not even have a passing touchdown. He did have one to slate, and that was called back. However, looking on the other side of the ball, Rivera says Kyle Allen's still our guy. He'll be back in. It was very uplifting to see Alex Smith take a football field again, but wow, couldn't ask for a tougher setup. Pouring rain, Aaron Donald all over your back, asking for piggyback rides. So I'm just glad.
Alex Smith went out there and got sacked 6 times, coming off a life-threatening leg injury. Welcome back, Alex Smith.
Yeah. We missed you, Giants.
So I'm torn between the defenses here.
Good. I like that pick. Giants for their first win. AJ?
At a decent clip. Big difference being they actually both pressure the quarterback from the Giants, and which is surprising, especially of an outside pass rush. I think so with that being said, Washington football team, big equalizer here is Alex Smith, and it didn't look great in missed tackles. Way down there at a respectable amount. That's an extremely important part. Even if you can't play and make huge plays on defense, at least playing sound football is super important, especially when you're garbage and you're playing garbage. I think the Giants are just less garbage. New York football Giants.
I don't hate that analysis, but I am going to pick the football team and be a little selfish on this one, especially if Alex Smith gets to play. I love Alex Smith and then what he's had to go through, and I'm just going to root for the guy. Even if he does poorly, I'm going to root for the guy. He deserves NFL Comeback Player of the Year. Can we talk about Kyle Allen a little bit? One of the top-rated high school players coming out in the state of Texas. Went to Texas A&M. He was trash at A&M. And how is he an NFL quarterback right now?
Because he went to Texas A&M. And they get outside of Johnny Football and what Kellen Mond is able to do right now, they really have not had a great track record with quarterback development there. And that stems all the way back to Kevin Sumlin hanging out on the sideline.
For the beginning of time.
That's savage. Go on.
Yeah, I am picking the football team. I like that defensive line a lot, and I think that Daniel Jones is awful under pressure. So I think Washington's going to get that win. Jeffrey.
Quick question. Is Chase Young playing?
I was actually
Colt?
going to ask that. Colt, you've got the injury report up.
Yeah.
Status, please.
So Chase Young did play last week. As far as I know, he made it out of that game pretty unscathed. He's not on the injury report.
I'm going to Washington football team.
I don't know. I think Lane Johnson was carted off.
That's my pick.
Oh, yeah. That's not helpful.
High school quarterback Lane Johnson.
Yeah, in fact, that hurts a lot. But I want to be contrarian on a pick or two here, and any given Sunday in Philly.
I love the gumption, the fortitude it takes to make a pick like that.
Yeah, I'm going to stay with it.
Jeff, who you got?
And this is not purely going by the fact that he's my fantasy quarterback. I'm gonna go with Baltimore. I really like Baltimore. The run game is really well, and I think Lamar Jackson's gonna make up for the last couple of weeks that he's had as not being that good of a few previous games.
I don't hate it. I'm going to go with Ravens as well because I really just think they're a better overall football team. The Eagles have so many questions. I didn't know that former high school quarterback Lane Johnson is no longer in the signal caller depth chart for the offensive line. It went Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts, Lane Johnson. So Ravens in probably the spread is 7.5. I think they probably covered that and win handily. AJ?
So what I'm looking at here is the yardage given up by the Ravens. They sit a little above average. However, in terms of the most important stat, which is points given up, they are real low, hanging out with the Tennessee Titans down there. I don't think numbers do them justice. And to your point, Ryan, just an overall more talented football team. So going Ravens.
I like the way the Browns are playing. I like the look of the offense, but I think Pittsburgh has plenty of talent on both sides of the ball to get the win at home.
I am going to throw a shocker in there, gentlemen. I'm actually going to go Browns on this one. I don't think, based on what the Steelers showed, that defense is ready to dominate. Watching them, the numbers don't do them justice in terms of they weren't getting pressure when pressure was expected. So let's move on to Ryan.
Yeah, I'm back in here. Remember what you said, AJ, about me not being able to physically or emotionally pick against Baker Mayfield?
It's the emotional part I'm most concerned about.
You know, I do have an emotional attachment to Baker, the touchdown maker, but
and I think that run game and that offensive line controls and dictates the tempo of the game for the Cleveland Browns. Percentage margin, get the most pressure on the quarterback. And when I talk to Steeler fans who get to watch the game in its entirety without pirating it, which I would never do, they say one of the big things that they see from the Steelers is a lack of pressure when it matters. I'm actually going Browns here.
I mean, Cleveland has one of the best run games in the league right now, even without Nick Chubb.
yeah, the Browns don't have a chubby right now.
No.
How long is he out for?
I believe 4 to 6 was the diagnosis.
So it's not looking like
Jesus
this
right.
week either. Moving on, NFC matchup. The 4-1. Can you imagine this? The 4-1 Chicago Bears against the Panthers, 3-2.
So that's why I'm going
one
my
of the best
pick.
pressure teams.
I would be remiss if I didn't at least once say the Bears without the Chicago accent. And moving on to more things of more substance.
Bears for AJ then. Colt.
Go on, Panthers. Teddy Two Gloves, he's got the offense in stride. Mike Davis is a machine. No McCaffrey, no problem. Robbie Anderson's averaging about a little over 100 yards a game. Bears defense is tough. Khalil Mack, Fuller.
Jeff.
So I just got back in because I somehow lost connection or something. So what were we talking about?
So we are on the Browns.
Steelers, Browns. I lost
Browns,
it too.
Browns all day long. I'm a believer in Baker Mayfield and the Browns. Their run game is phenomenal. His passing game is on point this year. He's doing better than he has statistically, I believe, than he has in his previous years. I think the Browns are going to overtake the Steelers, even though that defense is stout. It doesn't matter. Like you were saying, AJ, the way they played against Philadelphia, I think the Browns all day long.
He is prone to mistakes when under pressure, and the Steelers do get pressure from their front seven. I'm going to pick the Steelers in this because the Browns defense still has to prove a little something to me. So I'm picking Pittsburgh.
I like it.
So, you know what's crazy is that the Steelers by an 8-point.
I like the Panthers' crowd right now. I think they continue at home.
So
I
the
agree.
Steelers getting pressure at 38.1% of defensive snaps. Panthers at an anemic 13.5%. 5 sacks on the year.
Not great. Jeff, who you got? Bears, Panthers.
The Bears.
Thank you.
I'm going to go with Colt and go
I'm
Panthers.
dead.
Teddy Two Gloves. Let's rock and roll. Like I said, that Panthers team, they're not going to jump off the page at you, but they figure out a way to get it done. Matt Rule, Joe Brady, Teddy Two Gloves. A lot of young players on that defense playing for a job. Love it. Let's go Panthers. The Lions coming off of a bye week at 1-3 against Minshew Mania. And the 1-4 Jacksonville Jaguars. This is going to be a toilet bowl.
I'm going to pick the Jaguars on that one. I think they're actually going to get a win off this game.
AJ?
If these guys are back, I still think I like Detroit a little bit better. I think this game is going to be comprised mostly of Matty snapback tucking bombs to Kenny G, and a heavy dose of AP right in the teeth. And I like the Lions.
I actually like the Lions as well. I think they're a lot better on their as far as their roster goes than the Jaguars are. They just haven't exactly gotten the breaks they needed this season. And I do like the Detroit pick, though. I think this is two trash teams playing a pretty good football game at the end of the day. Lions slimly over the Jaguars. Next on the list, another just riveting contest in the AFC East.
I know which one
Jets.
this is.
Yes. Jets and Dolphins. Who we
Dolphins. Dolphins. This is what's amazing is this is a garbage matchup with garbage teams, and I think the gap between them is substantial still.
I agree.
Going Dolphins.
Yeah, I agree.
Quick question: when does Adam Gase get fired? What do you guys think?
After the season, that Jets franchise is so dysfunctional, they're going to let him ride it out. He may not get fired until 2035. If he hadn't gotten fired yet, they're going to let him ride it out, I think. It's going to be beautiful. What could be an actual beautiful game to watch? Green Bay Packers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, afternoon game on Fox. AJ?
I'm going to go Packers. I just think they rolling.
I agree. I don't even have to boil it down to anything except Aaron Rodgers playing out of his mind right now.
Agree.
He looks like Aaron Rodgers from 2011 when they won the Super Bowl. Jeff?
Like he's back in the Super Bowl winning team, man. He looks so nice, and he's unbelievable to watch.
I am going to pick the Dolphins. I think the Jets may be among the worst football teams I've ever seen in the NFL.
So to that point, do you think that 0-16 is a realistic possibility?
No. I think they're going to sneak a win. I'd have to look at their schedule going down. It's going to be deep in the season where a lot of guys are either hurt or they're resting them for the playoffs, but they're going to sneak one win. I think it's a one-win New York Jets team.
Actually, looking at their schedule here, boys, I think that at home versus Miami on Sunday, November 29th might be their best bet. They've got New England twice. They've got the Rams, the Browns, the Bills again, the Chiefs, the Las Vegas Raiders, Seattle. This is a pretty tough schedule. I think, yeah.
They're going to get housed all season long. It's going to be amazing to watch.
So looking at this, one of the hallmarks, as I brought it up before, of a undisciplined team is missed tackles. The Jaguars, for all their struggles, are in the top 8 in missed tackles on the other direction. They have 23, which is near really good defenses like the Bears, the Steelers, the Colts, the Pats, and the Saints when they're feeling up to it. So I actually think that the Jaguars have the potential to be better than what we've seen. So I'm going to go Jags as well.
Colt?
I'm looking at the injury report for last week, and the Jags were missing some big names. Miles Jack, Josh Allen, and the rookie C.J. Henderson quietly having a pretty good year.
I'm going to go Packers all day long on that.
Colt?
I'm leaning Packers as well, guys. Rodgers is playing out of his mind right now. I think that draft pick on Jordan Love really put a chip on his shoulder, and I think he's just intent on napalming the entire league.
Packers clean sweep all around. CJ Beathard and the 49ers going up against the Los Angeles Rams. I think the Rams are just too much in this one. Jeff?
Aaron Donald.
He's a terrifying human.
The Rams.
Colt?
I'm taking Rams, too. Yeah, San Fran looked totally dysfunctional. Both sides of the ball last week to me. I don't think we learned a whole lot. In regards to that team, I almost kind of want to throw last week in a trash can for the Niners, but I think the Rams are a much more complete team right now.
Rams clean sweep all around. On to Monday night, maybe the best game of this coming weekend. Chiefs and Buffalo, the Bills. This could be an excellent football game. Strength on both sides of the ball. Jeff?
Given the fact that the Titans just put a beat down on Buffalo, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to pick the Chiefs, but I think it's going to be a shootout between the two of them. But I do think that Bills defense is really nice, and Josh Allen's going to make up for what the Tennessee Titans did to him. So I'm going to go Buffalo on that.
Love it. Colt?
This one, man, this should be an amazing game to watch. But given what we just saw tonight with Tennessee having their way all over that Buffalo defense and Mahomes coming for redemption off an upset, even on the road in Orchard Park, I think I'm taking the Chiefs.
AJ?
I'm going to go Chiefs just honestly because of Pat Mahomes. If you look at the game last week, Mahomes still did Mahomes things. And I was talking to Jeff halfway through the game. I texted him, Pat Mahomes is going to do Pat Mahomes things. Of the play needs to be opportunistic and without mistakes. And that's exactly what the Raiders did last week, despite the fact that they are so high on the missed tackles. They're second in the league so far. They played the perfect game, mistakes and all, to beat the Chiefs. I don't think that happens again. I think the Bills were exposed, and I'm going Chiefs. And honestly, I don't think this game is going to be great.
There's not even a line on it. There's not a money line on Chiefs Bills right now. I am going to pick the Chiefs in this one. I think a pissed off Pat Mahomes is a little bit better than an angry Josh Allen. I'm going to go with the Chiefs because Andy Reid that he's going to coach them up. They're going to be upset, and they're going to come in and they could lay an absolute whooping on the Buffalo Bills, especially without Bills Mafia there to cheer them on. All right, last game on the slate. Cardinals against the Dak Prescott-less Cowboys. May God have mercy on his ankle.
Andy Dalton, I think, is going to play good football. Not only is he going to play serviceable football, I think, but it's also going to force the Cowboys to get back to the roots that made this team relevant again. For better, they've had their struggles clearly, but brought them back to relevance, which was Zeke Elliott running behind that offensive line. The defense is just bad. I am actually going to take the Cowboys here, despite what the offense of the Cardinals can do. So I'm going to go with the Dakless. While he's obviously not going to put up the numbers that Dak Prescott has been or would have. But so I actually think that, and this isn't a hot take by any means. This is something I've heard.
I do think Dalton is a very serviceable backup. I mean, he maintained what was his last year in Cincinnati, 2018. He played pretty well. I think the year before that, he might have even been in the top 5 as far as fantasy goes for production to receivers. I think Kyler's going to have his way with that defense, or lack thereof. And to AJ's point, I do believe Dallas has kind of gotten away from their roots in the run game. So I think they get back to that and try to pace the game a little better by way of possession. But I like Arizona.
I like Arizona as well in this game. I think that the Cowboys, without Tyron Smith and with Andy Dalton as quarterback, they may try to rely a little too heavily on that run game and not let the best wide receiver core in the NFL get loose and start running up and down the football field. They're going to try to take a lot off Andy Dalton's shoulders, and they don't have to do that because Andy Dalton is a good quarterback. And that defense is absolutely atrocious. So I am going to pick the Cardinals as well. Jeff?
I'm on the Kyler Murray train right now. That man is playing phenomenal football for his second year as a quarterback, and I think Arizona, he's just going to have his way with that really bad defense that Dallas has. I'm hopeful that Andy Dalton can get something with those wide receivers, but I agree that they're probably going to revert back to the run game a little bit more and cushion Andy Dalton just a little bit. But at the same time, Kyler's just going to have his way. It's going to be another Kyler Murray day.
I love it. Love picking Kyler Murray. Let's wrap it up, our NFL podcast, with Ask the Oracle. Colt, we have fantasy football questions, and you're the only person that can help.
Fire.
Jeff, what is your pressing fantasy football question?
All right, Colt, so I got a question for you. Thinking about in waivers dropping Brady for Dalton, do you think that's a good idea?
That is that's a tough call. Looking at the schedule, Brady's got a couple of juicy matchups coming up. At home against Green Bay, and then on the road against your Raiders, and then on the road against the Giants. I look to Brady to be tucking in all those games. I don't know if I would pull the plug on him just yet for Dalton.
Okay.
AJ,
Generally,
pressing
whenever
football crisis.
Whenever Colt finishes talking about fantasy, we normally end it with a yes, sir, if he does hand out advice. So,
Like a professor.
Colt, I have Hunter Henry. He is on a bye. And I need to pick up a tight end.
Let's see. Henry's on a bye. Tight ends. Jared Cook's there. Ebron. No. Gronk, Gesicki. I don't know. That's a tough call. I mean, with most tight ends, you're looking for a touchdown. Unless you have one of the top tier guys, your Kelsey, Kittle, that are yardage monsters. Looking at the matchups, I want to say either Gronk or Cameron Brate potentially. Brate showed some good flashes in that game against Chicago, and I do think Brady will be toughing it a lot on Sunday.
Yes, sir.
I've already made my bet in fantasy football with Phillip Rivers with Justin Herbert on a bye next week, so I'm not really looking forward to next week's situation. I do, however, have Preston Williams going against the Jets on my bench right now. Who do I replace in my lineup with Sir Preston Williams?
You're looking to replace Preston Williams?
No. I'm putting him in the lineup. Who do I take out? Because he's playing the Jets. He's gonna get some. He's gonna get some play.
Oh, for sure. Who's your
your top player in consideration here?
My three wide receivers or three options are DJ Moore, Cooper Kupp, and DJ Shark.
I think at this point, Chark's the easy one, just based on he injured his ankle last week.
There you
Unfortunately.
go.
How about QB? You gonna cut old Phil?
Oh no, I am riding with Uncle Phil. I'm a ride or die guy when it comes to Phillip Rivers.
I respect that, man. Ryan, I got to say your team is looking rather formidable here.
It's doing all right. It's doing all right. We'll see how it works out going forward. Colt, do you have any fantasy football questions? The professor asked the class.
Yeah, I actually do. Looking at my roster, finally got a win this week. Thanks to old Teddy Two Glove. Living the stream, man.
Oh yes.
You're welcome.
How about a kicker question for you guys? Because I can't
Love
seem
it.
to pick a kicker, man. You know, like kickers matter too, right?
For the brand.
Cowboys.
I love the pick. Colt.
Pretty bold. I'm gonna go Cardinals. Kyler is playing phenomenal right now.
You know, I dropped Joey Sly last week due to I don't know, maybe overthinking, but the fact that I was streaming Teddy Bridgewater, you know, like just a little diversity. Okay, let me pivot to Robbie Gould. Garoppolo's back. They're at home, heavy favorite, and what happens? They get blown out. Field goals are irrelevant early on in the game. I just can't seem to pick a kicker any given week. Who do you guys like this week?
I've got one for you. Ryan Suckup of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Green Bay Packers.
Hot take. I like it.
I was going to say Chris Boswell from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I like
don't
that.
hate that either.
Tomlin tends to go for two, a little more than most teams. Therefore, I'm never too excited about Boswell. But
He got 9 points this previous week.
yeah, he's got a leg, man. He definitely can kick it. You know what's funny is last week I just missed on the gem that is Rodrigo rocket ship to fellow league mate AJ. So congratulations on that.
Yes, sir.
you believe in the rec specs.
I'm going to go Graham Gano for you.
Don't
He's
hate
going
that
up
either.
against the football team, and that offense is built for field goals. I don't know what that means. They are built for field goals.
They can move the ball a little bit, but they're very inefficient at scoring touchdowns. They can get the ball like right on the end.
That concludes this episode of Shall We Football. Hope you join us next week. Have fun.